Hi and welcome to Sun Moon Self. First of all, I would like to thank everybody who has watched my first video, shared it, gave it a like, subscribed to my channel, and also left me some very nice comments. It is greatly appreciated. I honestly didn't expect this, so thank you so much for your support. In this video, I will talk about Pluto going into Aquarius, which will take place for the first time of quite a few times on March 23rd of this year, and it will have a very deep transformational impact on society. Whenever Pluto is making a move, it's going to be felt. Pluto moves into Aquarius on March 23rd, but will only stay there until June 11th. From then on, it will go back and forth a few times between Capricorn, where it has been until now, and Aquarius, until it finally enters Aquarius proper and stays there for the next 20 years on November 19th, 2024. Here we see the chart for the exact moment when Pluto goes into Aquarius in November 2024. Pluto in Capricorn, which is the sign it was in previously, has shown us the traditional, well-known construct of power and society, everything that we thought of as unchangeable, which has undergone a serious shake-up in recent years. We are seeing the literal toppling of statues in more than one sense, the dissolution of power structures as we've known them, and also a societal revolution with a lot of toxicity and unhealthy tendencies coming to the fore. We are now confronted with a lot of things that aren't healthy spiritually nor physically, and which ultimately go against nature in many ways. Anyone who is critical of the polychromatic banner, if you catch my drift, will probably know what I'm alluding to. This includes the various and sometimes competing definitions of identity, the ideas of who and what is more or less deserving or whatever. I think you know what I mean here. There is already a huge rift between people regarding these topics, and it will probably only increase with Pluto in Aquarius. We are definitely seeing Pluto in action by bringing out elements that may cloak themselves in a certain way, but might very well have a very different plan than what they're saying publicly. Pluto will flush out the toxicity, the pretenders and liars, be it in public life or within your private life. And I tell you one thing, it's not going to be pretty. This is going to be a period of unprecedented extremes, as the power holders will certainly not relinquish their influence, but find different ways to exert it. That means that in Aquarius, everything will be about technologies, how to use them to influence and possibly employ them to divide people, creating more and more rivaling factions and sub-factions with their own ways of identifying and separating themselves from others who aren't on the same page. There will be new schools of thought which reject tradition, including the traditional religions and whatever millennials and previous generations grew up with as conforming to societal norms. A dissatisfaction with the New Age philosophy can also be included here, in my opinion, as it is ultimately something that was derived from an Abrahamic mindset, and it is losing followers due to being riddled with contradictions, ineffective and spiritually confusing, and outright toxic elements. We will most certainly see an immense surge of technological innovations, Aquarius specialty, especially in the field of artificial intelligence and the merging of human consciousness or even the human body with AI. There is a group of people with seemingly unlimited financial resources whose goal is to promote what they think is the next and inevitable step in human evolution, which is becoming something beyond human, something that uses technology not only as an external tool or device, but in a way becomes a sort of device in themselves. This can have implications that range from the helpful, such as the support of the bodily disadvantaged, to frightening scenarios worthy of a science fiction movie, and to the curtailing of many freedoms we had been taken for granted in previous generations, such as anonymity in financial transactions, etc. The astrology shows us the following placements that, in my view, are noteworthy. First, we have a square between Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus retrograde in Taurus. It is a square by sign, not degree. This indicates a destabilization of people's material existence, which could include their very physical body, their money in terms of a possible financial crisis or the implementation of a new digital currency, and also something pertaining to the environment, or a combination of those things. Wherever Uranus is placed, we have the potential for unrest, revolution, and overthrowing and reconfiguration of the old status quo. The exact type of events that can come about is impossible to predict, but given the nature of the elements we're seeing here, anything from a financial to a health crisis or some other form of societal upheaval and change is definitely in the ballpark of possibilities. I don't speculate, I merely look at the astrology, and I see a bumpy ride ahead in these areas with lots of technological weirdness and futuristic shenanigans that will be very present, but not all of them will necessarily be sustainable or make it beyond an experimental stage. Certainly, some things will be introduced as new innovations during this period that will be here to stay. An additional indicator of the time quality ahead is a sextile between Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Pisces and Uranus. A sextile is a minor aspect, however, as we're dealing with slower moving planets here and a very interesting Saturn in Pisces, it's worth looking into, in my opinion. Neptune in Pisces could indicate a new disease emerging or another form of health issue, which will only reinforce the destabilizing Uranus in Taurus effect. So in a literal sense, combined with a controlling and authoritarian Saturn, this could mean that a new disease or outbreak is spreading and there will be new laws, regulations, and control mechanisms foisted upon us that could include a new medical treatment, a novel technology concerning inoculations or medication that will be introduced and applied. If you've watched Fiona Edgar's video about Saturn and Pisces, she mentions the same thing. As I have studied astrology with her, she has confirmed my own findings as to a possible emergence of a new crisis that could be like the one we had in 2020 or possibly worse. I have also noticed something along those lines in the time frame of roughly late 2024, roughly, to spring 2025, when I looked at charts for certain countries and institutions, among them the WHO, Germany, USA, and I have also noticed a possible connection to children and or fertility implicated in this event. Now, of course, I won't speculate. I'm just looking at the astrology and saying what I see. So in this context, I'd also like to mention another side of Saturn, which comes into play here and is very important for us to realize. Saturn is not just about the rule of law or authority from an outside force. It's also about maturity, growing up not just age-wise, so that you're old enough to have a job and pay a mortgage, but also soul-wise. Saturn brings a harsh reality check and calls upon us to outgrow any childish or juvenile notions and see reality for what it is. You must learn your own limitations and how you can interact with reality as opposed to always trying to escape it. This also ties in with Neptune retrograde in Pisces, because Neptune retrograde is all about losing one's fantasies, becoming disillusioned, which normally isn't a pleasant experience but necessary for maturity and for truly growing up in order to become a fully grown and integrated person, or at least more so. What does this mean for us collectively and individually? It means waking up from the notion that some idealized authority figure or big daddy is going to take care of business for us, or is to blame for everything that goes wrong in our lives. Because at the end of the day, it's always us either with or against reality that determine our own destiny. We may be subjected to crises, upheavals, chaos, disharmony, fear, or just plain confusion, but we are always being called upon, especially during this upcoming period, to wake up and see reality, people, institutions, idols, friends, enemies, and modes of thinking for what they are. That which you give power to will have power over you. Do we want to be ruled by technology, or do we want to employ it? Yes, we will be ruled by it in a way, and this can't be avoided unless you find a way to leave the planet and find a new home somewhere else. So we're gonna have to face whatever is coming to us. But we will also learn to employ whatever new reality we're facing, and we will thrive. I believe that within this new phase that humanity is about to enter, we will no doubt experience, whether we like it or not, many unprecedented areas of limitations and confusions, but also new opportunities that we can use creatively. The underdogs will be much more so, and they will likely understand much more that there is a great need to follow their own path, as opposed to societal paradigms that now have begun to pretty much fall apart. This awakening and growing into one's own power won't come easy, and I see no reason to sugarcoat that I believe it's going to be a bumpy and somewhat disturbing ride. One last aspect I find worthy of mention is a square between Saturn and Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. This to me seems to be a limitation of free-flowing information and communication through media, etc. We've been there before. At the end of the day, you can be sure that Pluto will always reveal the fake, the toxic, and the non-natural. And no one, no matter how powerful they may be, can stop Pluto. Yes, it will be difficult, but please know this. Pluto always makes everything obsolete that doesn't work in accordance with natural law. And humans don't make natural law. Nature, if you will, God or the gods, whatever you believe in, makes natural law, not some human being with a ton of money, okay? The more self-aware and collaborative with reality we are, the more we lose the tendencies to idolize something or someone, to wait for a supreme power to come and rescue us, and the more we will come into our own power and thrive even within the most uncomfortable circumstances, which is as Plutonian as it gets. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. It is quite a heavy topic, but this is astrology and this is life. Not everything is fluffy and pink and glitter all the time, but we're going to get through this, as we are always going through every change and up and down that is happening to us and happening through us and with us. We are players in the game, not just figures. Always remember that. And please subscribe, share, like, comment. It is very much appreciated. And until next time, bye bye.